What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another pulse pounding episode of Wrestling with ADHD and Bruce. I'm your host, Bruce. Sorry about the no notice. I just a little bit lazy. I just didn't share the whole thing. The Didn't share on Facebook, so I had a lot of people message me asking me if we were going to do this thing, but like I told them, yes, we are, because you guys know as well as I do, and I've said it before. If I don't do the thing won't get done. I just gotta, no matter how nervous or scared or fidgety I am, I just have to do it. That being said, welcome to episode 10 of Wrestling with ADHD and Bruce. I am your host, Bruce. And let me introduce to you a really good friend of mine that I've known for quite a while. Worked several shows with him, worked several companies with him. Welcome, Vann the Man, Peter Vann.
Bruce, hey, what's up, buddy?
What is happening, brother? It feels like we had to fight up Mount Olympus, a handful of titans to make this happen. Whether it be planning, and nothing against you or me or anything, whether it be, schedules being wonky, Halloween, Thanksgiving, all that crazy stuff.
Viruses,
yeah. Crazy work schedule, but we have officially made it, and sorry, I was checking my notifications. Some rando fan, thank you, random citizen. I love you as well. They always message me and remind me to fix my privacy settings because I don't know how to Facebook, I guess. And for some reason, when I go live, I have to edit my privacy for everyone instead of it being on private, which is really weird. I didn't realize that I had that set to private.
I didn't know that was a thing. Well, I knew that was a thing. I didn't know that was.
Well, like the three dots in the corner. You press it, and then you go down to edit privacy, and then you have to click. I don't know. It's a bunch of stuff. It's like Cat Williams said, like when you're making drugs, you get the baking soda and the water, and then you mix it together, and then boom, drugs. It's almost the same thing. Like when you're trying to work with Facebook, it's press a button, then press another button, look for the three dots. If you don't see the three dots, you went too far. Back up.
I thought you were going to go with my other Cat Williams favorite. How are you going to get a job when you fuck up everything?
Everything. But no, Peter, man, I'm glad we could get you on. I absolutely,
it's one of those being on this side, by the way.
Right. You want me to switch? You want me to switch it up? I can.
No. It's not a directional thing. It's being on this side of the microphone thing. Usually.
Yeah. Usually you're the one. You're the one doing the talking,
asking the questions.
Now you're the one being interviewed.
Yeah.
So yeah, give yourself an introduction, because like I said, I don't always give the best introductions. The floor is yours.
So Peter Vann, 47. I'm an Aries. I like fishing and hunting and kayak. I just bought a kayak.
Oh,
so no
long walks on the beach and laying in bed with Bruce.
My ties.
Okay, so how long you been in the wrestling business?
Let's see. And I'm looking behind me because.
Oh, dude, I love that wall.
My license is right there. I don't know if you can see me. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's my license. 6 years.
6 years. Wow, awesome.
Wow.
I've got my last wrestling license framed from the state of Arkansas before they got rid of the commission.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people did it. I don't know if that's like a dumb thing to do or not, but I did it because okay. Scotty Wentz. Did Deliverance come with the kayak?
Deliverance taught me to paddle immediately the opposite direction of banjo music.
Oh, I was gonna say no. Instead of oars, it came with a banjo.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
a little DVD of like 6 months free lessons of to learn how to play. I strongly feel like if he would have played a different tune, it may not have ended the way it did.
Dude, I'm just saying, if it was a Pearl Jam song, I'd have been a victim. All I would have heard was here we
go. So 6 years, man. I thought it's way longer than that.
It feels way longer than that. You know what though? I love it. I love every second of it though. But when you look back and you do all you said yourself. We worked several companies together, and some shows I've done without you, and did the Missouri stuff with American.
Oh yeah,
and everything. I mean,
I wrestled there. I wrestled there quite a bit. I had my Missouri license for a while, and then I just let it. I let my blood work slip is what happened, and I just haven't. It's that ADHD thing, man.
That's why I'm not doing Missouri actually, because I'm only a ring announcer, commentator guy. Why do I need to do all that stuff? And not that I got nothing to hide, but that just seems like a lot of work just to
right.
My yap. Like you guys, I get it, athletic, whatever, but I'm just talking. Why do I need all this just to talk?
Right.
So, but yeah, just working all different shows. Like you said, it's only been 6 years, but when you, especially the first 3, when I started getting my groove, and I did and I was a whore, for lack of a better term. Oh yeah,
right,
I'll do this. Oh yeah, you want me? I'll do
dude,
that? Yeah,
I know exactly the feeling. Those first couple of years, you're really trying to make your way and make your get your footing really. So any company that wants you it means the world to you, really. And I think that goes for everybody, because you start out at one company and you think, man, this is it. This is the end all and be all of wrestling. And then, people start seeing you and start getting interested in you and wanting you to come here and do this. And then, once that happens, man, it's a slippery slope and you're off to the races.
I think it was my wildest experience. And I don't get so much now because I've, in the last couple of years, between my wife's health and stuff like that, I've, put a lot of this on the back burner.
Oh yeah.
And just doing stuff when I can. I think the wildest thing though was like in the year 3, year 4, getting messages from companies out of state. Hey, we've heard a lot about you. We've seen, and it's like, how? I didn't even talk to anybody. Why are you got the right Peter Vann? I mean, you want me to come work? You sure?
Just me? No, that guy. No, and that dude, I'm telling you,
exciting and humbling at all the same time. It's crazy.
Well, I think I don't remember what year it was that I felt that, but it was like you almost go back and you're like, well, what match did you watch, or what event did you see me at, that or who did you talk to? Like, what did they say? Did they give me a good review, or do they give me a bad review? Do you want me because you want me to be the sucky wrestler, or do you want me because you see some potential in me and I'm actually decent? So many thoughts go through your head, and I can't even imagine what it's like for somebody without ADHD, because speaking of that, when were you diagnosed?
So we kind of pre-talked, and I told you I wanted to save a lot
of
for the show. I didn't get diagnosed until I was like 17 years old in high school.
Oh wow!
I've had it since the 3rd grade, but I joke now in my adult life that I had ADHD before it was cool, because nobody, and I'm not quite sure how old you are. I'm 47. So in 3rd grade, I'm 11, 10-ish, I think, maybe somewhere around there. they didn't know what it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just a behavioral learning disorder, and I was just being disruptive for attention and this and that and the other.
Right.
And
well, I love that you described it like that. I'm 40 years old. I'll be 42 or 41 next June. So 7 years behind you, which is not that far off. I was diagnosed when I was in the second grade.
Right.
I started on medication the second half of the second grade, and so, but like back then, they didn't even, unless you were talking to a psychologist, any doctor was just like, "Oh, a good stern ass whipping is what he needs."
Yes.
my grandparents, my grandpa on my mom's side, that was his go-to. Like, you just beat that boy's ass and he'll be fine.
Daily, believe it or not, on the daily, I would get my ass whooped.
Dude,
because of it.
Same here. And you're young and you're going through this. Wow, 17. So what were you, a junior in high school?
Junior in high school. They finally got a psychologist in there, because all through from third grade till my senior year in high school, they had me in with the school psychologist.
Right.
Early on in elementary, third or fourth grade, they tried putting me in special ed classes, and they found, no, that's not his problem. He's just got a behavioral, can't pay attention, doing this shit for attention, whatever.
But that's I'm going to pause you real quick. I love that you said he's just doing it for attention, because I heard that, and I'm sure all of us hear that. The fact of the matter is, yes, we're doing it for attention. We're doing it for something to grasp our attention, because we're attention deficit.
Yes.
We have an attention deficit, so we need more to grasp our attention.
You're right. Oh, and you're right. It wasn't that we wanted attention from others. We just wanted
we wanted something to focus on. I love that, dude. That hits the nail on the head. Like, my son, my oldest son, he wrestles now. He's been wrestling for about
4 years.
About 4 years.
I remember it. You're talking to Logan, right?
Yeah, Logan.
Yeah, about for 3 or 4 years. Yeah, I remember his first match. I called his first match.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, but yeah, he sorry, I'm pantomiming. He just walked in, and people get used to it. I wanted to warn you. I've got a pack of dogs on the other side of my bedroom door.
I was looking for mine. Mine doesn't on my side. That's funny you say that.
But yeah, he's got real bad ADHD, and like the medication that he took, I was 100% against the medication that they wanted to put him on.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, you could see a night and day difference from when he was on it versus when he was not on it. There was no focus at all. It was just bounce from one thought to the other as quick as humanly possible, and it was just a wreck. You know what I'm saying? Aha! Spencer, I'm doing good. How's it going with you?
Hey Spencer, how you doing, bud?
Lee Michaels, yes. Look, I want to apologize. I feel like I've been apologizing for 10 years. The infamous Lee Michaels spot. If you guys don't know what it is, hit me up in the private messenger or Facebook Messenger, and I'll tell you the entire Bruce was a greener spot. Luckily he didn't put his hands on me. I would have deserved it is all I'm gonna say. I literally would have deserved it. Like, but yeah, that's our brains, the way they're wired, we need constant dopamine. And what, for those that are watching maybe live or after the fact, dopamine is the chemical that our brains, all of our human brains, create, and I believe in some animals as well. if you're living on this earth, your brain is going to create dopamine, and that's the feel good chemical. That's what makes you happy to pet a dog. That's what makes you happy when you see your significant other walk through the door, or they text your phone. Anything that you enjoy doing, it makes your body produce dopamine, and it makes you happy. Um, that
And what's funny about that is it's a trial and error thing that you have to put yourself through. If you
right,
choose not to go the medication route, is you have to, and that's I think one of the worst parts of having it is because we're just trying to do so many things just to find that little small crevice of, oh, put that in front of my face like that. That small crevice of happy space,
right,
that
right.
will get us on a railroad track of okay,
Yeah,
we're
and
gonna
and
be fine.
I don't know how it is with you, but when I lose the dopamine for something, dude, it's like I lost my best friend. I go into not really a deep depression, but just a mini sadness where I'm
You
like,
you get bummed out.
yeah,
Yes, I've been. Yeah.
it's sad. You know what I'm saying? Because I've got tubs with all kinds of different projects in it, and things that I do as you know stuff to give me joy. And I tell people this all the time. I've got a painting, and and that's my shining beacon of, if you fall out of love with something and it doesn't give you the dopamine that it used to,
Hmm.
uh, you can get it back. This painting, I'm really impressed with the. It was like 3M, like those things, like almost like Hercules hooks.
Yes. Yeah.
This painting, there's like 6 layers of paint on it, because there's 6 or 7 paintings underneath the one that you can see.
Okay.
And the reason there's 6 different paintings under the 7th painting is because I started painting something that I thought would boost the dopamine and boost the feel good, and then after about a week I just wasn't feeling it, and I'm like, well, maybe and then there's that depression, and there's that voice telling me, well, maybe you're not as good as you thought you were at this thing, because obviously you can't put something that you can visualize in your head onto a canvas medium, and maybe you just suck at life. And I moped around for a couple of days, and then I went back and I whitewashed it, and then I painted over it, and then I blackwashed it, and then I painted over it. And like, I was the 6th one, I was like, you know what, I guess it's time to get a new canvas and just let it sit until I'm ready to paint something. And the wife told me, she's like, hey, don't throw that out, just kind of take a breath and start again. Don't quit. Don't give up. And
Right.
I was like, you're absolutely right. I'm gonna give it another shot. So I let about 3 weeks go by, and I took out a pencil, and I started drawing on the canvas. And the next thing you know, I've got a painting, and I absolutely love it. And I'm like, wow, that's super cool. It probably won't make any money, but I mean, that's not why I did it. But you know what I'm saying? It to me, it's a shining beacon of if you lose that love for something, you'll definitely get it back if you truly wanted
Yeah. Yeah. Mine is music, and it's funny. Uh, so this wrestling thing. Let me backpedal a little bit. This wrestling thing has always been a dream of mine. A friend of mine, Alonzo, shout out to you, bud. Miss you, love you, miss you, from New Jersey. Um, we were gonna go to a wrestling school in I think it was Mike Sharp's wrestling school in New Jersey,
it. Oh
but
wow.
he wanted $10,000 up front. Yeah, yeah, and I'm like,
if you love it, you'll go into debt for it.
yeah, look, I'm a broke bastard. I ain't got that kind of cheddar in my pocket. So I was like, whatever. It's a dream. That'll never gonna happen. But rewinding through that, when I said I was diagnosed in 3rd grade, but pro wrestling ever since I was a little, like, small, like even before third grade, probably like kindergarten, it was the only thing I could focus on. Like I couldn't stand to watch a cartoon for more than 5 minutes or whatever, or a program, and I'd have to get up and sidetrack my. But when like Superstars of Wrestling was on, because Northeast territory, anything WWE or whatever like that, or WWF at the time, if it was on, I was all about it, and I could sit there the whole hour and not budge from. And my dad used to get my mom and my dad before they got divorced used to get really pissed at me because how come you can focus on that but you can't and it turned into that whole situation. And I don't know it just. So like when I find myself needing to go back to my happy, I thank God for like Peacock and YouTube and everything else, because I'll just sit down for hours and I'll watch hours of matches. And I don't mean even like the modern stuff. Like I literally have to go back and watch stuff from the 80s.
Right.
The older promos and shit like that. And then there's music. I mean, I wish I had the talent to play, but I listen. The reason I love these because I could pick up every note, and I'll listen to songs I've heard over and over again, and it's like, oh wow, that was a weird cymbal crash in there. Like I could pick little pieces, nuances. Yeah,
well, and that's the cool thing. Like one thing, like let's say somebody that doesn't have ADHD, if they're listening to a song, it's a good song, it's got a good beat. They're not paying attention to. Do you? I do this weird thing where if I'm listening to a song, I isolate a certain instrument. I'm listening. I'm listening to the I'm listening to the whole song, but I will isolate just the snare drum, and not necessarily the whole drum, not necessarily the whole drum set, but just the beats when he hits the snare drum. Or I'll say, okay, I'm going to listen for the hi-hat, or ooh, this music has this actually has some instruments in it, like some woodwind instruments. I'm going to listen. Okay, if there's a clarinet, or if there's a saxophone, or if there's any number of instruments in there, I'll be listening to a song that I've heard 100 times, and I'll be like, "Oh, this time I'm gonna only listen for the bass guitar."
Yeah, I've listened. I've listened to, gosh, so many songs that I've heard. That I'll listen to repeatedly, like back to back to back, because. Okay, I listened to the rhythmic guitar at the time. Let me start it over and listen to the bass part.
Because our brains pick up little things that the normal person not necessarily wouldn't pick up because they weren't paying attention, but it's just little nuances that aren't really thought about. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're like almost like we're OCD to a certain extent, where like I want to listen to, I want to be able to hear his fingers scrape the chords.
Right.
I want to hear that fingers scrape the chord and know that that was the chord that he hit. I may not be able to play that chord, but I want to visualize like everybody on stage. It's black all around them. And then the lights go out, and there's one spotlight on the guitarist. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect. Like if you were to visualize in my brain, if you had a TV in my brain listening to music, that's exactly what it would be.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And that in our head, that blackness, that spotlight, it washes out all the other stuff.
Two of my favorite bands in the world, and it's gonna sound so goofy. Well, I've been a Pearl Jam fan since they came out. And I know the big gag is, oh, what is Eddie Vedder saying? That's the reason I listen to it. Because I love picking it apart to see if I can understand what he's saying, and I can. And I'll sing it. How do you know that's what he's saying? Trust me. I just,
Yeah.
And then Rage Against the Machine, because Tom Morello just fascinates me with what he can do with the guitar. And it's like, I listen to it over and over just to how is he doing that? What is he using? And I've watched rabbit holes of YouTube videos on him to get the sound that he gets. Because out of all the guitarists, modern rock guitars, he probably has the most unique sound ever. Yeah,
my favorite to do that too is Bon Scott AC/DC and Brian Johnson AC/DC. I listened because a lot of Bond's songs, they were still still pretty famous and practically new when he passed. So
Yeah.
their new singer, Brian, he had to learn those songs, and he had to sing them, the way they got famous, because you sing stiff upper lip and you sing it weird.
Yeah.
It's
you're
not
done.
gonna it's not the same song. You're like, oh no, the fans turn on you and then you're done.
Yeah.
So I like to listen to those back and forth, and listen to the vocals, and listen to Angus on guitar, and all those guys, and just listen and pick them apart. Queen's the same way.
Well, I was see. This is why you and I
right.
We talked before the show. We had those funny connections. I literally was just having Queen on the brain and saying that's where that derives from. Because if you listen, my dad had an 8-track player that we weren't allowed to touch, but he worked till 9 p.m. So what the hell?
You could.
We get home at 3. We're gonna fuck with it, So, but
just put everything back the way you found it.
Queen's greatest hits on 8-track. Oh my gosh, it was an experience. With the big headphones, studio headphones, and everything else. You could pick everything apart, and that is literally where that started, where it started with the music with me and listening to it that way. That 8-track and that stereo and those headphones.
I did, like, when my kids were a little bit younger, that probably 5, 6, maybe even 8 to 9 years ago, I introduced my kids to vinyl, and like, to me, vinyl is the most crisp sound. I could be 100% wrong and speaking out of my ass, but me personally, I think vinyl just has that, that crispness that, like, it's almost like if you close your eyes, the band's right there.
Yes. Yeah. I like vinyl. See, again, it's the ADHD thing. I like vinyl because not only is it the crispness, but it's the pops.
Oh yeah. The just the every little, and again, that's that dopamine. That,
yes. Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so diagnosed at 17. Man, that's crazy. So you knew you had ADHD, or knew that something was going on, and then when you were 17.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and obviously, school counselors and teachers that are with you, they're holy crap.
Mean.
Randy Savage's rap album is now on vinyl. I gotta get that, dude.
Oh, that's a must get. That's a
right.
Get. That is a get. Be a man, Hogan.
Oh yeah, Hollywood Hogan. I saw Motley Crue back in 2016, and Vince Neil sounded pretty good then.
Oh, Vince Neil, that's a hard one to get. It sucks when you see some of your heroes aging, because some. Oh
yeah, the age old saying is, you don't want to meet your heroes, because 90% of them are assholes. That's the opposite side of that they never say. Not always, but I'd say probably like 50 to 70% of the time they're assholes.
Yeah.
Luckily 90% of the heroes, my heroes that I've met, were not assholes. So it was a good experience.
I point to the Wall of Fame because that's the same
experience I
got. Because my favorite, and he was always my absolute favorite, was the one behind me, the biggest one, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Heck yeah.
I met
him. Dude, I heard Jake was so cool.
Dyers. Jake, so you were, I don't know, there's not a lot of people, I don't know who's watching and who's not. But you were around for the Peter Vann transformation when I dropped all that weight doing the DDP yoga. If you remember correctly. I do. I dropped 55 pounds at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I was 40 pounds into it, went to a show in Dyersburg with our Russian friend. I was escorting him for the evening. And what do you call it? Jake the Snake was doing an appearance there, which is the whole reason I wanted to go, because he, one of my favorite guys growing up, one of my heroes. I love Jake the Snake Roberts. Met him, and I sat down and I talked with him during the matches, because he was at his gimmick table and I was just there watching, and talked to him during the matches, and I told him about DDP yoga. I said, we got that in common, blah, blah, blah. Really? And I told him, and I showed him the pictures of weight loss, everything. He goes, hang on a minute. He put me on the phone with fucking Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh, sweet, dude.
I'm like, holy shit, dude. And Dally was like, dude, you got, and there's I don't know how far back his site goes, but there is a whole thing that I had to write out, that he had me write out to
send to him?
Put on the site. Yeah.
Like sweet, dude. Testimonial.
Oh, it was cool as shit. Like, he wanted the pictures and everything, and he saw the pictures. Oh, and he emailed me, oh, that's fantastic. That's my best Dallas Page. Oh, that's great, bro. Keep it up. And, yeah.
Heck yeah, dude.
So that was like one of my cool moments. I'm like, that's neat.
Dude, that's really super cool.
But that goes back to like all your heroes, you say
yeah.
assholes, but all of them that I've met, Jimmy Hart,
it's
so cool.
Look, I've got a wall similar that it is that direction, and the only guys that are on that wall are guys that I've met and had really good interactions with, and aren't just completely, big jerks.
I've had one, and I don't want to.
You don't have to say a name. You don't have to say a name.
He's big and okay. So he's big and famous. Used to work for the Federation. I'll say it like that. Used to work for the Fed. Big and famous. Big in the area, and we did a legend show with him. And I wanted to get a quick picture with him, and he arrived 15 minutes late, and he's like, all right, hurry up. You guys are running late. Dude, no fuck not. What are you talking about? I
think I know exactly who you're talking about.
It's the one picture that I will not, and I like it because it's a cool looking photo, but it's the one picture I will not hang on my wall.
I got a picture. I got a picture of him. I think I know exactly who you're talking about. We'll talk after this is over. I wrestled on the show that he was there, that he wrestled
up at the center here, right, in Jonesboro.
No, not that one. This was like years before. This was like my first year in the business. So I worked a show that he was at. Of course, he showed up late. The whole show was around, geared towards him. We're not mentioning any names, y'all. So if you want to know, I've got a reputation. So just shoot me a message and I'll tell you. So I had to. He wouldn't hang out in the locker room to get like a picture with the boys, so I had to so I had to stand in line.
Craig, you did. Oh, I shouldn't point at the screen, but yeah.
No, that's absolutely fine. You can point at it.
I've told you exactly who it was. Craig knows who it was.
So I had to wait in line like a fan to get my picture with him and my kids, and it wasn't bad. I just mentioned that I wrestled in the second match, and he just kind of rolled his eyes like whatever, and I was just like, oh man, that sounds about right. Like growing up watching Channel 5, like, man, that sucks that you would be that way.
Yeah, we're definitely talking about the same person now. I know.
Oh yeah, I knew it, bro. I knew it. I'll never mention any names, but
it made me so angry because I was, just cutting my teeth, and it was literally, I think Craig hired me 2 shows before that. It was literally my 3rd show. And
oh wow.
I was like, and he was one of my heroes because, well, he did all those nights. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, lawyers, whatever.
Hey, hold on. I gotta.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You're
Oh yeah, dude, Craig, I love you, bro. you know, and we'll never mention any names because we're professional.
We could say royalty, right?
Yeah. I mean, he is wrestling royalty. No, because wrestling royalty, you could be anybody.
Anybody.
Yeah.
You could be Prince Devitt. I mean,
Right.
The Queen, Charlotte Flair. I mean,
yeah.
It could be anybody.
Yeah, it could be anybody. So okay.
Oh my
So
God.
one of the big things that I love about this show is our caveats into randomness, and that was one of them.
That's
To,
it's perfect for a show with this name.
right,
Perfect.
right,
I mean, you can't watch the show and expect anything different.
right. Prince IKEA,
Oh, maybe.
maybe.
Getting warmer.
Going up the chain, and you'll be right there. But look, a lot of us that have wrestled in the Mid South and that are local guys that travel, we've all been on shows with individuals like that. It's one of those things where you're just like, man, I wish I would have just. Why didn't I just keep my mouth shut and like continue thinking that he was a cool ass dude?
Yeah, you know how bad it's probably
I had to get a
part
picture
of
with
the
him.
ADD thing. Probably part of the ADD things to get this back on track, sort of. That night, I'd rather have been kicked in the balls, and that's no lie. I'd rather have been kicked in the balls than to have that experience in that moment that I had.
Right.
And how disappointed I was. I'd rather hit me in the nuts, and the pain will go away in 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Right.
To have those feelings of such dejection for the whole entire evening.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like the one thing that I said I would never do is forget where I came from. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. I don't care how far I make it. I don't care. You know, I do care, obviously, but I mean, I don't care how far I make it. I will never act like I'm better. Or I hope I never will. I don't believe I will. With my personality, I don't think I ever will. I know guys that are like that think that they're better and think that they deserve more. I say this all the time. I started training guys, and I tell guys this all the time. Like, wrestling owes you nothing, and you owe wrestling everything.
It keeps me out when people want to clap my hands, watch. And I'm just an announcer guy, and people, hey, give me a 5 as I'm walking down, the walkway, and it's like I'm a nobody. I still feel like I'm a nobody. I really honestly do.
I'm a wrestler, and I feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? When somebody pops for me like that, it's so surreal to me. I go into nah, man, it's cool. I'm just like you. I'm an everyday guy. It could be anybody, you know. Thank you. I appreciate it, but you know, let's go back to the normal where, you know, you just cheered me from afar and I thanked you and we didn't have to have this interpersonal conversation where I have to like feel like I'm just so great.
And I don't know if he's watching or not. The trippiest moment I had in regards to that, I'll never forget it because it blew my mind. I don't remember who was going to be there, but I drove to Cape for CCW because I wanted to go. I really can't remember who it was. That's killing me. You know, Caleb, their announcer, commentator.
Yep.
I'm standing in line to get my ticket to go through the door. And mind you, this is only like my second year in or maybe third. And I hear Peter Vann like out in this crowd. Now, mind you, I'm 2.5 hours away from the house. I don't think anybody knows me. So I'm like, oh, it's wrestling. Right. So it's probably somebody I know. No. He said that he had been listening to the podcast I was doing with him for MACW, The Meltdown, and everything else in the whole nine. And he was more excited to see me. And he's like, dude, you're the reason I want to do this. Da, da, da. Like telling me this shit. And I'm like, wow, dude, I'm a nobody. You know, right. I didn't say that to him because I didn't want to like, I didn't want to like deflate his ego. Right. But it was just so surreal because he was like so happy to see me and meet me in person and everything else. And I'm like, dude, cool. I mean, yeah, this is neat. And I got a fanfic photo with him and everything.
Heck and yeah.
I talked to him for like 20 minutes and he walked away. And I got on the phone with my wife and I'm like, you're never going to believe what just happened, because I still can't believe this happened. But
good shit. Good shit.
I like the crowds. I like it because it's a humbling experience, but you hit the nail on the head. It reminds me, do not forget what brought me to the dance and what's getting this reaction in the first place.
So just like Craig said, I left it up while we finished up that last little bit. Not all are bad. You're absolutely right. Jimmy Hart, Jimmy Valiant, so down to earth for being and doing everything that they've done, being the names that they are, guys that we all looked up to in the business. And when you meet one of them, it makes all the bad interactions just kind of go away, because you're like, yeah, that's why I do this, because one day that's going to be me.
Another one. Oh, well, shit. My ADD's kicking in. Did we talk about Pillman before the show, or was it on the show?
No, that was before the show.
It was pre-show. So I told you about my Pillman interaction where, I'll for the fans. We worked the show OCW. Brian Pillman Jr. was booked.
Okay, so real quick, let me preface this.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
So no, it's all good. It's all good. So OCW was going through a lull in their company. Me and my tag partner at the time, JPJ, and a couple other guys got together, and we started a little company called Southern Elite Championship Wrestling.
That's right.
In,
it was at CCW
in Hoxie, Arkansas, and every we ran on Friday nights so we could work with all the big companies that have been running around and doing their thing, for several years. And we wanted to let everybody know that there was a new sheriff in town, and we were down to work with everybody. And it was great. Me and my tag partner, actually, we were going to do a glacier seminar at CCW. And the night before, Friday night, the promoter, Jason the Brain, he shot me a message and said, "Hey, would you guys? I know you guys run on Friday night. Would you guys be interested in booking Brian Pillman Jr.?" And I called him, and I remember it like it was just a minute ago. He answered the phone, and I said, "Does a bear shit in the woods? Of course we want to book Brian Pillman Jr." And dude, we promoted the hell out of it. We packed the place out. Every single match was just top shelf. Everybody there was all firing on all cylinders. And dude, the fans, that main event, there was not every seat in the house was empty because they were all standing up.
Keep going. Just
give me 1 second. I got you. Dude, Brian Pillman Jr., he wrestled Damone Salavino, and it was the absolute greatest main event that we had seen up to that point. There were several greats after that, but just to see Brian Pillman in Arkansas, and we were the first company that he had ever wrestled for in Arkansas, and he was just completely floored by the whole experience. And I'm really excited for his what he's been doing here lately, and I'm really, really happy for him.
So that's what the photo I was telling you about was. That's why I got that stupid look, that stupid look on my face. Because
nice. Yeah. I have a picture similar to that, but I'm in the locker room.
But the reason, and it goes back to what we're talking about, was I was telling Bruce before the show, was that show where that picture was taken. The reason I got that stupid ass look on my face is because shortly, like I literally mean like 2 seconds before we're getting ready to snap the photo, he's like, "Dude, I've been all around the country and everything, and you were probably one of the greatest announcers I've heard doing little local shows like that." And I was like, "Me?" And I recently just had it again this past October with Downtown Bruno, because I was like, all right, now I got to get feedback from him, because I always ask the bigger guys, what do I do? How did I sound, whatever. And Downtown Bruno says, "I wouldn't change a thing, dude. You're awesome."
Yeah, was that at the Rice Festival?
The Rice Fest, yes,
dude.
That Rice Fest.
Downtown Bruno is the coolest.
He ain't made the wall yet. I haven't got the picture printed, but he's gonna be up there soon. But but yeah, I mean, and it's just so surreal. Like your heroes, when they compliment you on stuff like that, it's like, fuck, you know.
Oh yeah, dude, it's mind blowing. You know,
But it
because
goes back to the ADD thing where we beat ourselves up because we
right.
don't think we're that good. You know,
Well,
we
you know,
always
like
find things wrong with ourselves.
flaws. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's always something wrong, even if it was good. There's always something.
Yes.
I have a mantra that I tell my guys that I train with. Don't tell me the good, tell me the bad. And I don't really beat that in their heads, but I preach it. You know, like I don't want to. If I go out there and I do something just phenomenal and off the wall, crazy, and it's good, man, I know it's good because the fans told me it's good. But I want to know what bad I did so that I could fix it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Tell me,
right.
Give me a whole bucket of bad before you even give me one spoonful of good.
And at the end of the show, and Craig will testify to it. I would ask him how was that, and it's good, it's good. And you sure? Because right. I'm like you. I want to hear the bad. Don't tell me I did good because I can't handle it. My body's like, no, he's lying to me.
Yeah, we get that. It's almost like that angel demon on your shoulder. Yes. You know, you're like, oh man, he said a really nice thing. Yeah, but he kept the fact that you messed up the word the 17 times. You were saying the.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh my gosh, can you please for a split second? If y'all guys can hear, my dogs are going crazy. Yeah, you know, you gotta know what bad you did so you can do better next time.
And I think because you and I have that wavelength is why when we were working shows together, I've come to you first.
Right, and I do appreciate that.
You know how our brains, how my brain works because I know how your brain works because it's the same thing. And you're going to be honest with me.
Sam, yes. Yeah, you said adjective instead of a verb.
Yes. Look at the adjective. Great. There it is.
There it is.
Quarter. No, because you would be honest with me and you would really tell me, but you would do it in a way, not that I have a fragile ego or feelings, but you would do it in a way where it wouldn't be hurtful or I wouldn't.
Well, and dude,
I'm afraid when I get the constant positive feedback, dude, everything was fine, you did perfect. I don't like to think this of my friends, but it's like, are they lying to me just to spare my feelings?
Right.
You're one of the few that I can honestly say when, if you told me everything was good, okay, I believe it.
I appreciate that.
Praying hands because I'll tell the world.
No. I appreciate that. I really do.
I started this night out by saying in the pre-show with him, Bruce is genuinely one of my favorite human beings on this planet.
I really appreciate that.
One of my favorite.
I feel exactly the same way. I learned a long time ago that, I was in the Marine Corps and coming up through the ranks, a lot of guys, I would see a lot of examples of different types of NCOs. So you kind of same thing with wrestling, as you come up through the ranks of wrestling and you start to get some years under your belt and some miles traveled, you look up to different guys and you take the good here and you throw away the bad from that one. And you kind of cobble together a persona or a way that you want to be seen. And I had an opportunity to kind of already build that with the Marine Corps. So when it came to wrestling, it was just that much easier. I don't want to be the guy that like yells and chews ass and this and that and the other. I can be that guy and I have been that guy, but at the same time, like, man, it means more when you're honest. It means more even if you're ripping a Band-Aid off, it means more when there's honesty attached to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I don't hate anybody that has ever taught me anything in wrestling or anything, any life lessons in general, especially if they were brutally honest and it wasn't just something like, hey, you're a fuck up because you tied your shoes wrong. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me something that I could that's a life lesson that I could learn that's going to save my life or that's going to protect myself and or somebody else. and
Right.
and do it in an assholish way, I'll love you to death. You know what I'm saying? I'll love you. I'll love you forever. But if you just tell me some silliness, I'm just gonna be like, I don't know. But yeah, I tend to ramble from time to time. So let me go ahead and pull this thing back on the tracks. I've created a list of 5 questions, and a lot of the questions now it's real easy. A lot of the questions we've already answered, so they'll be really easy. We can just kind of expound on those, or we can just leave them where they are.
Okay.
But they'll lead into they each lead into the next one. So question number 1, how did wrestling with ADHD? See, it's in the contract. I gotta at least. It's like my catchphrase. I have to say it at least once, or the sponsors get mad.
You gotta do the McFoley though. When you say wrestling with ADHD.
So how did wrestling with ADHD affect you growing up?
Well, like I said, a lot of it was just I think that's why I try to be such a positive person and so happy-go-lucky, and sometimes it's like the sad clown, so to speak, where I always feel I got to put on an entertainment or show, because I had so much negativity growing up with it, and just so much everybody just yelling and screaming and just hostile towards me in general, because when I had it, nobody knew what it was.
Right.
So, in my adult life, it's made me. I'm still doing a lot of reading on it too, believe it or not. In my adult life,
dude,
it's 30 years now
that's
I've
one thing.
I've had it.
That's one thing, and again, like, I'm not trying to cut you off, but I'm adding too. I do the same thing, and I didn't really start learning about myself until I started talking to other people that have ADHD. You know what I'm saying? It's not something. It's something you put on the shelf, and you're like, "Hey, bud, I'm gonna get to you later," and then you just kind of find something else to get to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No.
So yeah, a lot of this. Yeah, go ahead.
Going back to that, but that's why it's funny how when you grow up around a lot of yelling and screaming, and you find that you don't do it at all, like you've broken your own cycle of yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I get passionate, which is where a lot of the hands come from, but I don't yell and scream. If I get mad, I'm not a yeller and screamer. I'm like one of those, take a breath, explain to this person why you're mad. That's it, and that's how it's really made me more conscious of yelling. And believe it or not, getting yelled at all those years for having ADHD, I'll sum it up that way. Getting yelled at all the years for having ADHD has made me an actual more understanding person towards other people.
Right.
Because it's like, I know how receptive I was to getting all that. I don't want to be that guy. I don't know. I want to come across as that guy. You know how many, how many assholes and fucking assholes there were growing up, because that was my only thought as they're like this close in your face.
Oh, for sure. And
it's like, I don't ever want to be called a fucking asshole in somebody's head unless I crack a really obscure bad joke.
Well, there's with me growing up, like I didn't know the words to express what was going on in my head.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know when an adult asked me what was wrong with me. A lot of the times they got I don't know. I'm just bored.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
It felt like,
it felt like the right thing to do at the time.
And that's the worst answer you could
ever dude, yeah. That answer got several bubbles.
Yeah. Like you talked about that depression. The feeling down, Blue. I love my wife to death. Everybody who's watching knows my marriage knows this.
Absolutely.
And like when I get in those blue moods, and what's wrong? I don't know, and it hurts. It hurts me to say I don't know because from that perspective, you can't explain it.
Yeah.
You know it. You and I both know it's part of that roller coaster. That is what it is, and it's like fuck. You can't just. There's no specific reason why I'm this way. I just
It's not just sadness, and I just want everybody to know that it's not just sadness. When that emotional roller coaster, it goes through all of the entire spectrum. When I'm happy, man, I'm super happy. When I'm sad, I tend to get really super sad and in a funk.
Yeah.
Now from certain situations from when I was in the service, I get angry. I tell people all the time I'm an angry addict, and people are like, "Well, I don't really see it, Bruce." And I'm like, "Well,
yeah,
that's the reason you don't is because I've got this cool little mask right here that makes me look like and sound like normal Bruce. But the second I take it off, shit's getting real."
Mine is bad. My anger is bad parenting. When I see a parent yet belittling and calling their kids names and stuff like that, because I grew up.
Oh yeah, that bugs the shit out of me.
Oh
dude.
my god, dude, it is like a tick. Like I turned it like it's like you've never seen me mad. I get furious. Like,
well, and that's the thing. Like that's the thing that we all do. We all it's all a form of social masking. We with ADHD, we don't like. I've wrestled with guys. I've wrestled in the business for 14 years, and there's guys that didn't even know I had ADHD until I started this podcast.
Wow.
And, once they found out, I got messages from dudes being like, bro, if I'd have known, maybe I'd have treated you a little different 10 years ago. Maybe I would have. Yeah, don't. I'm just as normal as you are. And that's really saying something because normal is subjective.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, up until 8 episodes, you didn't know shit. So why would you treat me any differently?
Right. I'm still the same guy.
Yeah,
I just had to learn differently. And like I said, I keep saying this one thing that I've learned from researching this and actually talking to people. Team sports is not a thing for us. With ADHD, we don't learn well when we have to know what X, Y, and Z is doing. That's why professional wrestling is such a draw for us with ADHD, and that's why I named the podcast "Wrestling with ADHD" because wrestling is in a lot of ways a single sport.
So is that why I'm the drizzling shit at taking bumps?
No. Look, like the thing that
sorry, that was a little insider.
No,
you're way inside.
No, you're super cool. It's some people get it, and some people their bodies won't let them. It's nothing. I can't announce to save my life. I wouldn't even. I've attempted announcing 3 times in 14 years, and I sucked all 3 times. It was the worst.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I recall one show where I was out for 2 weeks because of obligations, and I came back and you hugged me. Thank God you're back.
Thank God you're back. Oh my gosh. Thank God you're back. Yes. So yeah. But no, that's the weird thing. Like with ADHD, like your calling is announcing. You've got a voice. You've got a presence. You've got a personality, and you announce like nobody I've seen. Like there's guys that do it differently, but in my opinion, and this is not me blowing smoke, you are damn good at what you do. And I'd like to see you in bigger places. I know you're gonna be like, nah, man, nah. But dude, Terrence was the same way. And look where Terrence is now.
Yeah. No, well, and that goes hand in hand with the ADD thing. In your adult life, when you realize you have it, and you realize there's ways you can focus. We were talking about our little things that we do. It was one of the reasons, because I was a drizzling shit at taking bumps. It's one of the reasons why I've stuck with it and I've made it my passion the way I have now, is because Craig told me this, and quite a few guys after the fact, we've talked about it when I talked about, being a little bummed out that I didn't get to be a wrestler. There's a lot more to just two guys in the ring making the show.
Right.
And,
You
and
guys,
when I realized that my talent was this, was this.
dude, that's
said,
right.
Look, okay, and it's part of the show.
Exactly.
What makes me love going to it every time.
Do you remember those? Do you remember those old shows before they had entrance music and before they announced? Don't get me wrong. I love those. I love those shows because of the classic feel of them.
Yes.
But I need someone. I need a voice telling me what's going on in the ring, and fans need that. Believe it or not, like if you're sitting there, a fan can know every single move in the book, and they can say, okay, this guy, they just did a lockup and they did this and they did this and they did this. Fast forward 1, 2, 3, so and so wins. But the flair that you add to a match, it's night and day from having a silent match.
It's my painting. It's
right,
my painting.
right.
It's my strokes. It's my painting the picture. And
right.
You're right. Everybody can see what's going on, but it's my painting the picture of
that solidifies it for them. Yes,
that's adding the layers, and that's what I love.
I've got a good example that's similar. You remember Mike Knowles?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad. He approached me just out of the blue, wanted to train to wrestle. After one night, when training was done, he said, Mr. Bruce, and I said, hey, bro, don't call me Mr. Bruce. I'm either Bruce or I'm Sideshow the effing clown. What's up, man? He said, man, wrestling's not for me, but I love the business and I want to be a part of the show. Can you teach me to ref? I almost said announce. Can you teach me to ref? I taught him to the best of my ability, and then I introduced him to Danny Jackson, and Danny Jackson took him all over the place. Because Danny Jackson's one of those guys that he's a legend around here. He's a legend, and he's reffed some of the most awesome matches in the past 40 years.
Talk about a guy who's seen talent, whose matches he's called up front.
Yes.
Personal.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So and to have him to hear him tell it, he's just a normal guy.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. I talked with Mike about it because it must have been shortly after you had the conversation with him, because he came to me and we was talking about, because we always talked about wrestling stuff at shows. And he says, well, I'm not going to be a wrestler. It looks like I'm going to be a referee. And I put my arm around him. I said, Mike, that's fine. I said, don't get bummed out about it. I says, and that's what I told him, the mantra that I always told. There's many parts to a show. It's not just two guys dancing in the ring. There's a lot to it. And I said, if you're doing your part, I said, it may not be the dream that you thought you were having, but you're still in that dream.
Right. You're still there. And I had Mike Knowles, I had you announcing and Mike Knowles reffing several of my really great matches that I thought were just amazing. And looking back on those, and again, I'm not blowing smoke. If it wasn't for you and it wasn't for him and it wasn't for the guys that I was wrestling with, it would have just been two guys freaking rubbing up on each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it takes all of us in a wrestling show to make the spectacle that is professional wrestling.
Perfect homework assignment for you folks in kind of what we're talking about. I know we're talking some insider stuff. Go back to the night that WWE had their walkout and Triple H was out there by himself talking about wrestling a broomstick. And it puts into perspective. You don't realize what goes into a show.
Right.
You as fans could be like, oh, well, we don't need this and we don't need that. Nope. Go back and watch that. And it paints a perfect picture of, oh, my gosh. Yeah, I guess it does require this person here.
Oh, it's crazy how we need all these cogs to make the clock work right.
Yes. Yeah. It's craziness. It absolutely is.
I'm glad we were talking about you had mentioned, because we had kind of talked off pod about different things that we do to work through it. My next question, what are some tricks that you've learned to control it over the years? First off, sorry I didn't even ask this. Are you medicated or no?
No.
Because neither am I.
Mine's a lot of meditation, listening to music.
Right.
I forgot we talked all pods yet that we were talking this whole time. I thought we were on pod. Early on in my childhood, it was always professional wrestling. I mean, ADD ran rampant in my life, every which direction. But for that 1 hour that wrestling was on, that was my line.
Yeah.
It made my parents real pissed off at me because it was the only thing I could stay focused on. That and music. I listened to a lot of music, and we were talking off pod, picking out tracks, picking out instruments and songs, stuff like that. That's what kind of keeps me grounded and keeps me focused. If I'm having a bad ADHD day or ADD day, kick on the headphones, plug the headphones in my phone, fire up some Pandora,
right?
Just kick back in the chair and just stare at the wall, and it may look like I'm staring off into space.
You're centering yourself.
I'm focusing on music, and I'm listening.
And a lot of people would be surprised the amount of focus outside of music that you can get from those minutes of listening and focusing on a song. It can, in my opinion, like if I'm at work and I'm just zoning, you know what I'm saying? I always listen to podcasts during work because it makes the day go by that much easier. But I will, I'll throw in some tunes, to get the mojo going, and I surprise myself at how much more focus I have to get my job done once I kind of give myself a little mental, exercise of, hey, this is Bruce. Welcome to Focus. This is Bruce. You know what I'm saying? Like
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. But
my workplace is silent. But if there's stuff that I got to do, I'll the same way. I'll plug my phone into the speakers.
Paperwork is the worst. I sell parts in my day job.
So do I. Hi.
But yeah, so dude, like the whole day is paperwork, and it's procedures, and it's computer. You got to do a certain thing to bill a customer, and to order a part, or to this and that and the other. So there's a lot of focus that comes with that. So I have to continuously, recenter myself. If I don't, I wouldn't get anything done.
Oh, you ever see, is it Seven? You ever see Seven, where he has an apartment full of notes everywhere on his wall?
Yeah. Oh, dude,
that's what my office looks like.
I want to take a so for anybody watching, remember Post-it notes. Tomorrow I will take a picture of my workstation, and I will share it to Facebook, and I will tag SDU Networks and anybody that cares to see it and that was watching tonight, or that may be watching after we go off the air, even several days after today. Just go back on my Facebook and look at my uploaded photos. Dude, I am the king of Post-it notes. I keep our office supply clerk. Yeah. Dude, I keep her on the ball. My company must spend a mint annually on Post-it notes, because, dude, like if it wasn't for Post-it notes, I would fail miserably.
He's into horses. He can afford it.
Right. Luckily, they're not like, you can get like a whole package of them, like a whole package of like 20 stacks for like $3.
Yeah.
So how has wrestling with ADHD affected your wrestling career?
Um,
Good or bad? I mean, you can give me a couple of goods and you can give me a couple of bads.
Bad in a sense of what we had touched on a couple times, which is I'm just super hard on myself with it, and we could have the funnest show in the world, and on that car ride home, I'm like, fuck, it was horrible. No, it wasn't bad. Dude, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. That's the bad of it. When you have it, you get really negative on yourself, like we talked about. And
yeah, car rides home are the worst, especially if you're by yourself.
Yeah, and you just go, holy shit, I can't believe I fucked that up. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that. And, I made an ass of myself, especially when I was managing, doing the manager thing for a short while there. It's like, oh, man, I did what I didn't want to do. I made it about me. I felt like I made it about me, and that's not my role. And, that's the bad side of it.
I'm so glad that you said that, because over the years I've trained a couple of managers, and I think the hardest thing, and this is going to get into a whole nother conversation, so I'm just gonna say this, and I'm glad you said that, because like one of the things that's a hard thing to learn for some guys that are just getting into managing is when you're out there, it's not about you, it's about your wrestler. And a lot of guys like you want to do it to the best of your ability. And if you even feel for a split second that you've tried to take shine from your wrestler, or, outshined or outheated your wrestler, you get upset.
Yeah.
Because that's not what you want to do.
Supposed to be your focus. No. The good, and I'll tell you, so we're in the right business for having ADHD, because okay, maybe not so much from your perspective.
Maybe
when you were booking, yes. Mine is I go from storyline to storyline to storyline to storyline to storyline to storyline, and with ADD, that's perfect for me, because it's I'm able to make that jump and leaps and bounds. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh yeah, dude. When I was writing storyline, dude, it was great. I could write out a 6-month storyline for 30 guys.
And if you got stuck on one, you could go, I can move to this.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. So that's great.
Yeah, and so, but that's what's made me such a good announcer. You talk about, with the emphasis and stuff I put on it, but it's because I don't have to focus on that one thing for an extended period of time. I know in my mind, or I know the way it's booked, it's going to be 20 minutes of this. Okay, so I got to fill space for 20 minutes of this story. Perfect. Boom, let's make it happen, make my sandwich. And then, now the women are coming up. So this is what you're going to focus on for there. Boom, tell that story. Boom, tell that story. And that's the advantage I feel I have.
Right,
with it.
right.
It's almost like my superpower,
That's what that's actually one of my questions, one of my last questions, the fourth question, which is awesome. I can't believe I came up with these questions and they all kind of lead into one another. Wrestling with ADHD, superpower or super curse?
Superpower, especially with the wrestling side, superpower.
Yeah.
Going to the part side, going back to the shoot job side of things, it's my superpower there, because I'm dealing with this customer here, this customer here, this customer here, and
yes,
believe it or not, I've learned to turn the ADHD into a controlled chaos, if that makes sense.
It does. It totally
does. If you're looking in from the outside, everybody's going, "What is he doing? Oh my gosh!
How is this working? What's going on?"
Yeah, but to me, because of the ADHD, it just makes sense. And
I tell
are firing and boom.
I tell our service riders at least once a week. They're like, "Hey, I'm sorry it's so hectic," and I'm like, "No, I love it. Give it to me.
Perfect. I thrive.
I want all the smoke. I focus. I get my most work done when I'm just so covered up I can barely breathe." And I know that sounds kind of sarcastic, and I have to follow it up with, "I'm not being sarcastic. I'm serious. Don't slow down. I want, just give it to me. I don't want me trying to do my job to affect them doing theirs."
Right.
And I feel like if it does affect them doing theirs, I failed.
Right. To the non-ADD people out there, I have a meme, and I'm sure it's been a popular one for years. You ever see the dog walking the wheelbarrow through the flames of hell? That guy, and he's just like, everything's fine. I have
Yes.
that picture in my office because to me, everybody's like, oh my gosh, this day is so, not ADD people. It's so crazy, blah, blah, blah. And I just go, no, everything's fine. Just like that. What do you mean?
This is fine. This is fine. Everything's fine.
This is my pace. We're good. Nope. Building's not burning down. We're in a good spot.
Right.
And we'll make it work. Everything's working just fine. Don't worry about it. What are you talking about? No, it's fine. One girl, in fetal position in the corner, having a nervous breakdown. It's like, why? What's the matter? Oh, it's just so crazy. No, it's perfect. There's 10 people at the counter. Yeah, we're good. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine.
Right. Once. Okay, so like with ADHD, in my opinion, and this is not, everybody's ADHD is different. As different as we are, we're also exactly the same. So once I learn the process, it's easy money.
It is. It really honestly is.
So I looked at that. I looked at that like in school as well. Like once I knew the thing, once I knew 2 + 2 = 4, I don't need to be lectured on how 2 + 2 = 4 for a month. Let me take a test. I'll ace it. Let's move on to the next thing. I got bored really easily.
Everybody. So when I got to high school, everybody was wondering what changed with me. Not that my grades got significantly better, but they got a little better. And it's because I went from that format of being in one classroom for 6, 7, 8 hours a day to having first period, second period, third period, fourth period, all 30-minute classes. Boom.
And every one of them is different.
Next one. Yes. And everything was different. And my grades got a little, everybody's like, you were such a dummy in grammar school. How are you this good now? It's not that I was a dummy, and I hate that.
Oh, dude.
That's a pet peeve. We talked about that. The word stupid. Really
I tell people all the time, like I hated that feeling like I was a broken toy or that there was something about me that was wrong.
Yes.
Like you said, it may have been like the first few minutes of it, feeling like you were the problem because you couldn't just sit down and learn this.
Yeah.
And that goes hand in hand with not having the words to say, I already know this. Can you give me something else?
You're talking about 6 years separates us, right?
Yep.
How much? Okay, this is gonna ADD. When you were a little kid watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, how much did you identify with the Island of Misfit Toys?
Oh, dude, I was there. Like that was my jam. Like those.
The train with the square wheels. I was like, that's me,
dude. Yeah, I wanna say that there's a part of me that thinks that when they made that show and the Island of Misfit Toys, that was like an allegory for like the kids that people looked at as broken or didn't learn right, or the train with the square wheels, obviously it can't roll right. Well, us with ADHD and us with other mental disorders and stuff that we were born with that we didn't ask for, we just wanted to be normal.
Yeah.
Again, there's that word normal. It's subjective. We just wanted to be average, and we couldn't, because of how we were born, because of how our chemical imbalance in our brain, how we were created, we couldn't be average. We couldn't be normal, or whatever normal was at the time.
But between that and Fred Rogers, no, because Mr. Rogers was my hero.
Oh, he was mine as well.
Because
I didn't
like he was speaking to me on so many levels.
Right.
Between that and Fred Rogers, I felt okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Which is super cool, because that leads into my last question.
Wow, I'm scary with this shit.
Dude, it happens
Folks,
with every.
I promise you, he did not email me or message me none of these questions in advance.
This is all.
This is how it's going.
Look, I have the I texted myself the questions. I texted them on August 14th. Actually, no, I texted them to myself a lot earlier than that, but August 14th, we'll go with that. I can't remember if that was around the time of my first podcast or no.
Hey, nice phone.
Oh, samesies. So so my last question. What's something that you would have told young Peter Vann? Adult you walks into a bar and there sits young Peter Vann. Maybe stressing about trying to be normal, maybe stressing about being yelled at, or all those ass whippings that we got growing up because we weren't normal. What would you tell 12-year-old you?
Keep doing that. You're gonna go blind.
That's about that time of discovering ourselves. So yeah. I could see that. That's a good one.
No. I wish I had it. I wish I had it when I was younger. I would really honestly put my arm around him and be like, "You're gonna be okay, kid. You're gonna learn in your older life that it's gonna make you stronger and it's gonna make you a better person, and people are going to love you for it." Because I was kind of an introvert. I didn't have many friends because of it.
Same.
And I've made friends. No, sorry.
No, you're absolutely fine. Look, I'm doing the same thing.
I was an introvert and stuff like that, and I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. And it's like when I was able to turn the ADD into fun, outgoing Peter Vann, the guy you talk to every day, I made a ton of friends. Guys like you, I absolutely, like I said, no homo, absolutely love. Guys like Craig, who gave me opportunities in the business and everything else. I can't believe you got me crying, Bruce.
I told myself I wouldn't cry.
I hate you. But no, I wish, and I think that's why I'm enjoying my adulthood now, because I wish, this is what I wish I had my younger, when you had that carefreeness to enjoy it. When you didn't have the responsibilities you have now to be able to just live fun and fancy free. I wish I had that then, and I just would love to just tell myself, dude, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna have your moments. Now, mind you, it's turned into, because I had such a sheltered child, not sheltered, that
let's say altered. I like that
isolated childhood.
Yeah.
Be it self or from being punished, that I turned to some recreational things in my 20s and things,
it happens, man.
We talked about the PTSD, and some of you know my story with that. I wish the self-medicating didn't happen in my 20s.
Right.
And I wish I was able to enjoy my 20s a little bit more. Not that I wish it wasn't fueled by recreational activities, my 20s. You know what I'm saying? I wish I had this fulfillment and enjoyment that I've had in my 30s and now in my 40s that I had in my 20s, and definitely wish I had it as a kid, so. Well,
I think that's a great message, honestly. And every single one of these that I've done, and I've done 10 counting mine. Technically we're on episode 9, technically we're on episode 11, because episode 0, the very first episode, was just me kind of like, hey guys, this is me. I'm going to tell my story so that when I interview these guys and when I talk to them, I don't overstep them. But I don't think that I have. I think it's been a communication, a discussion back and forth, and a lot of things is absolutely the same. Like you said, and like I've said, dude, we're two different guys, but we're a lot alike. And I get the sense from everybody that I talk to. I know I was the same way. The reason why nobody knew that I had ADHD until I started doing this podcast was because I didn't want people to look at me differently. I didn't want people to treat me like I was treated when I was a kid. I just wanted to be fun loving, friggin' wanting to learn, wanting to be part of the crowd, one of the boys. I just wanted to be. I wanted to be accepted for me. And a lot of the things that I did growing up in the business, I kept myself for the most part away from. I mean, you could see it in all the gimmicks that I've done over the years, the little cracks of me being who I actually am. Got an opportunity to shine through, but I think your message to younger you is perfect and beautiful. Just be yourself and keep on going, because you know the old adage of it can't rain all the time. It does get better. When you become an adult, people are more accepting of you for you, and not who. Kids are cruel. Kids are, in a lot of ways, kids are horrible. They're the monsters that we all worry about, because under your bed is that kid that makes fun of you because you're not wearing the newest clothes or the newest shoes, or because your family can't afford to go to the movies or do this and that and the other. I didn't grow up rich. I had what I needed.
Oh, yeah,
Neither
did I.
I had what I needed, and at a young age, I understood that what you needed is more important than what you want.
You said that about kids being cruel, and now it's funny how our brains work. Now you really just posed a question in my head. You wonder if some of that cruelty came from a place of that they were going through the same thing,
Similar,
that they had the ADD too as well, and it was their way of
like self hate. They poke fun at you so they didn't feel so bad.
Yes. Yeah.
And I strongly believe that as well. Like maybe because we were cared for so much, we actually got brought to a doctor. People cared about our grades, when those other kids, when all they cared about was, whatever it was they cared about at the time. As an adult, if you're a true adult, a lot of that shit doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, you got clothes on. You're doing amazing today, bud. Yeah. Oh, your shoes match. Here, you must be having a freaking killer week.
That's the adult sense of humor in us.
Right.
How you doing? I woke up and put on pants.
I'm doing amazing. And then everybody in your office gives you a pat on the back because you're adulting today.
Yes.
But dude, this has been a blast, and it surprises me that this goes as fast as it does.
I know. I've just looked at the timer up at the corner. I'm like,
right.
An hour and a half? Holy shit.
We've had these talks before, but like I feel like it's official now. Like, not that it wasn't official before, because it most certainly was. We're brothers.
We had a lot of distractions.
Dude, I'm telling you what.
It's always been like you and I try to start these conversations, and somebody comes in from the left. Oh my gosh, they're setting the ring on fire. What?
That's not part of the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, and I can honestly say, like I said, I love you, bro, and I know homo.
I love you, and I thank you for coming on.
Long overdue one-on-one conversation that we were always meant to have.
Oh, for sure.
I do feel that brotherhood that you just talked about. I do feel
everybody. Look, I've talked to guys in Georgia. I've talked to guys in Tennessee. I've talked to guys in Texas. And I've wrestled in all of these different states, and just we're all brothers. But I mean, like, I feel like we're a little bit closer. Especially all of us with ADHD, because there's not a lot. In researching this, I only found a few names of actual like top stars that have ADHD. John Moxley's one of them. Joey Janela, he's another one.
Joey Janela, I kind of hit that.
Well, yeah.
Listening to him on podcasts, I kind of
knew
he had it.
I caught his I caught John Moxley's wife. Renee
Yeah.
Hor-
I almost call her Dupree. Oh my gosh, she's not a Quebecer, you idiot.
But no, I caught her podcast with Janella, and it was just like, holy crap, like we're all of us ADHDers are the same. We're all the same. You know, we may have different walks of life and we may have done different things to get where we're at right now at this point. But we've all been wrestling with ADHD our entire lives. It's not something that you just wake up one day and you have. The signs are there. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that chance meeting with a doctor who gets you to a psychologist, and he's like, "Hey, I've got good news and I've got bad news."
Yeah. Okay, so I know you want to wrap this up.
No, it's fine. I could literally talk all night.
Do you remember? I remember what I was reading, so I want to ask you, what was the first thing you read that you looked at it with, holy shit, that's me? When you were reading on this subject.
Dude, it was crap. Hold on, let me see if I can find it on my phone. I saved
while you're looking, mine was the Reader's Digest.
Really?
I was in I'll never forget where and when I was, and the whole nine. Mine was the Reader's Digest. I was in the doctor's office for something completely unrelated. And maybe I think it was the first bout of pneumonia I had. Yes, I was in the doctor's office with pneumonia, and they had a Reader's Digest, and they did this thing on ADD. And dude, I'm like, oh my God, it's me, you know? Are they speaking about me? I wanted to turn to the person next to me and be like, am I reading these words right? I mean, because I want to make sure it wasn't my brain playing tricks on me, making me like, self-conscious and self-aware. It does say this, right?
Dude, I want to say it was something similar. It was like it wasn't even like a full like page. It was just like a little sub column kind of thing. It was like a ask. What are those where you write into the lady?
Like the advice column kind of deal.
Yeah, advice column. And this woman into this advice column lady, and she was like, she just gave out a list of things her son wanted advice on if she should take him to or not. And I'm reading this list, and every single thing, I'm just like, it's like I'm collecting Pokemon. I'm like, oh, I got that one. I got that one. Oh, I got that one. Like at the end, I'm gonna win a prize. Like bingo. You know what I'm saying?
The best is when you do the research and you see the list, and you're just like, yeah. Yeah.
So like I said, I was diagnosed in the 6th grade. And once I got on medication, I was put on Ritalin, and it was like 5 milligram, like 15, then 25. So once I got on Ritalin, everything like kind of clicked, schoolwork became easier, and I focus and everything. So, but like looking back, like I can't specifically remember like the questions that the psychologist asked me. I remember going to the doctor, and the doctor was like, yeah, we're going to refer him to so-and-so because he's qualified to make this determination and whatnot. And so I can't remember exactly all the questions that the doctor asked me, but probably I want to say about 3 to 4 years ago, me and Jack were talking about doing a podcast, and just this what we're doing right now just kind of popped in my head, like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to do a podcast and interview people with ADHD, just to kind of learn myself by learning what other people do. And so I went back and I read through the questions, because I went to college to get a bachelor's in psychology, and I'm 1 semester away, and I just got to force myself to do it or I won't do it. But I read the questionnaire that psychologists are taught to ask to verify the symptoms of ADHD from somebody with ADHD, not necessarily like stuff that you would, like a therapist would ask your mom or a psychologist would ask the parents. Of course, there's questions that they would ask them, but just questions like, if I'm interviewing you and you're a potential child who has ADHD, I may ask you, hey, you're sitting in class the other day, and your mom says that you were, looking in your backpack. What were you looking for? And the question that, or the answer to that question, could be any number of things, but it's the I don't know, or it's the I remembered I had something in here that I needed, or I was looking for a pencil and I couldn't find it. Random questions like that, and there's like 15 of them that you learn to weave into a communication with a child or with a prospective person with ADHD. And I was just like, holy shit, like this is me in a nutshell. Like every single one of these, to this day, I'm 40 years old, and this is, well, at the time I was 37, 38. But I'm like, holy shit, I'm 37, 38 years old, and this whoever this guy's talking to, that's me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said, mine was that, like, almost like a Dear Abby thing, where like the mother was writing into the daughter, or to the advice column, and gave a list of things that the son had. And this was after my diagnosis, but I was like, wow, that take a nail and hit it right on the head, because that's
spot on, man.
yeah. Yeah, man.
My favorite part, and we'll wrap it up. I'm sorry, you're supposed to say that. Anyway, my favorite part of my ADD, when I told you about making friends and the whole nine, when I started making friends and coming out of my shells, I would do, y'all ready? For what? It's time for the random act of stupidity. And I would just do something way off the wall, and something so out of a Jackass movie. Oh, it was so great.
Dude, I still do it to this day, like around people, like professionally, and not so much anymore, because with the podcast and wrestling around guys that I've wrestled with my entire career, they kind of know me. And I mask a lot, where I've developed a thing I like to call normal for ADHD, where I put on a mask and I act just like a normal person would act. If I get distracted, you see it in my mic spills from time to time. I'll be on the microphone and I'll get completely distracted. And instead of going, I'll just pause. And in my head, at light speed, at the speed of thought, I'm getting myself refocused, and I'm almost shaking myself out of the dip in the words, the word salad that I'm trying to spit. And then I go right back to what I'm doing. But that's just every now and then I do the same thing. I'm like, y'all guys ready to get silly? Just something off the wall.
It's like you got dogs. It's like when you watch your dog walk in the room, he stops, looks around, shakes his head, and just starts moving on to something else.
Right.
It's like, okay, nope, we're good.
I'm back. All right, but yeah, an hour and 38 minutes, almost an hour and 39 minutes.
What's the record?
SDU chat last Thursday we went 2 hours and 40. For him. I don't know. I think you're the longest. I'd have to go back and look. I would almost put money on you being the longest. I may lose a little bit, but I think this episode's been the longest, and I'm so excited that it was with you.
If ever there was a time where I could say, "See, ladies, I'm the longest," now would be it. Honey, don't be mad. It's a joke.
It's just a joke.
It's only a joke. She's got a titanium leg, dude. I better be careful what I say.
Right.
Carbon fiber titanium in the ass doesn't feel good.
Stay on her good side.
Be her right. Anyway.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you watched live with us, I really appreciate you. Thanks to all the guys that commented. So great to have this platform and this ability to do this. I really appreciate everybody that's commented, that's messaged me. I really appreciate all the people that watch after the live is over with. I really would like to get those onto the actual live stuff. So, but I appreciate you guys for being here, and I appreciate you guys for listening to me talk with a literal clone of myself every other week. I love you guys, and be safe. I'll see you guys.
Can I get my plugs in?
Yeah, get your shit in, dude. I'm sorry, I thought we had already.
No,
hour and 40 minutes.
I didn't plug shit.
Oh, damn. Plug the hell out of it, dude.
Vann Wrestling, December 9th, Christmas Chaos. Check out my TikTok. I'm actually starting to do the Peter Vann show again. I picked it back up. So you can watch me record live on Peter Vann Show 2, number 2, because this jackass, fucked up his first one. Accidental boobies. Long story. So yeah, Peter Vann Show 2. You can check out the Peter Vann Show live when I do my recordings, or just watch my videos. It's pretty good shit, I think. But be looking forward to Peter Vann Show podcast coming back to Podbean very soon.
Oh, right on.
As soon as I get done fighting with them, because somebody stole that account, but I'm fighting to get it back. Podcast for 4 years, things happen when you.
Oh yeah.
So, but I'm excited to be that. Bruce, like I said, you're my favorite human being. I absolutely love you. Can't believe we laughed, we cried, we shared a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I
appreciate it. Hey, and if you guys watch wrestling, just enjoy the show. Enjoy all the shows. There's several shows running this weekend, all over the place. One thing that I learned when I got into wrestling was there's a wrestling show in every town, and if not, there's one in the town next to you. Go watch wrestling. Wrestling is all over, and it's like that one place, Baskin Robbins, 1001 Flavors. If you find a wrestling show that's not your favorite, I'm sure there's one right down the road.
I guarantee you'll have a better personal experience going to one of them local shows than we're going to a bigger.
Oh, for sure. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on those guys. They're there for a reason. I love big shows like that. They're super. They're an entity of them in their own right. But where it all started is on the indies. So go check out a show. Love you guys. Be safe. See you guys in 2 weeks, or see you tomorrow for Cryptids and Creepy Stuff on the SDU network. Love you guys.
Peace, love, chicken grease. We're out.